Hi guys, Patch Drury, board certified hypnotherapist, dream analyst, and Daimon enthusiast. And today I have a special video for you, and it's inspired by one of my subscribers. He goes by the handle Dead Steve. I don't know if he's dead or not, but he asked me if I had read Anthony Peake's book, The Daimon, and I have, and it's a great book. Peak, he takes the theory of the daemon into some places that I don't, but it all makes great sense. It's all very informative. It's a little mind bending, but Dead Steve brought up the book, and I was like, oh, I should listen to that again. I have it on audio, and so I started listening to it. And in the opening part of the book, Peak asked the question, what series of events brought you to listening to this book? And I like that thought process, and I'll explain what that has to do with the daemon. But I thought I would tweak it and ask you, what series of steps brought you to watch this video? And to kind of illustrate, I'm going to say, here are the series of steps that brought me to make this video. And I'm going to start way back in my life. I'm not going to go to the Big Bang, to the creation of life, the formation of America, the formation of Kentucky. Like, I could do that. Like, you could go way back and say, look at how many millions of years have led to this, to you watching this video. And that can be inspiring and fun to do. But as far as the process of me making this video, I'm just going to go to the beginning of my childhood. So I was born, we'll make that number one here. I was born. And then a couple of things. One, I was raised in a very Christian household. I was brought up very conservatively Christian. I was in church 3 times a week. I went to everything church related. And when I was 3, my parents bought me my first episode of a Superman comic book. And from that moment on, I was hooked. I loved comics. And so we're going to go from there. That Superman comic led me to other comics like The Mighty Thor by Marvel. And that interest in The Mighty Thor led me to an interest in Norse mythology and mythology in general. And that was something that kind of abided throughout my life. Let's jump back up to this track. A basic Christian upbringing, a Christian life led me eventually to go to Bible college, and that led me to go into ministry professionally. And at this one church I was at, I met my wife. I met her at the church. And so when I met her, eventually, not right away, but eventually I ended up getting her pregnant. High five. Wow. And so she got pregnant. And as I started thinking about us bringing this child into the world, I started thinking about the things I would teach him. And I became aware of the fact that I would have to teach him about God. And I wasn't sure I liked all of the stuff that I would have to teach him about God. And some of it didn't make sense. So I started going through a crisis of faith. And that crisis of faith, along with this interest in mythology, brought me to discovering Joseph Campbell. Joseph Campbell was a big, he was a big part of where I eventually came to around faith and religion. And he was the world's most renowned mythologist. So my interest in him was also kind of influenced by my young interest in mythology. And so those things kind of coincided. And so that led to a couple of things. One, it led to me no longer being a Christian. And it also led, you can't read Campbell without being exposed to Jung. And so that interest in Campbell led me to Carl Jung. And so from there, no longer being a Christian, you start looking for things to kind of fill that vacuum left. I wasn't going to become an atheist. I was already kind of into the enchanted worldview. And so I was looking for something else a little more esoteric. And of all things, my wife sent me an Esther Hicks video. And say what you will, think what you will about Esther Hicks and that whole law of attraction and manifestation world. Even though I didn't end up staying there, it kind of broadened my horizons. And I quickly got into stuff that people may refer to as occultish or the occult, or and you know, because I grew up Christian, even just saying I got into the occult feels dark and scary and it's not. And so if you're somebody who's struggling with that, if you've come up through a Christian worldview and maybe you're interested or you're touched by some of these more esoteric ideas, it's not scariness. It's not what you're told it is as you're coming up through this Christian worldview. It's really an invitation to go inside, I think, and to figure yourself out and to uncover some of the untapped secret, occult means secret or hidden stuff inside of you. And so I kind of jumped into the occult a little bit there. And then Jung started, like, if you read Jung, he references the word daimon, and he talks about having a daimon. And he even says at one point, I kind of wish I hadn't called all of this the unconscious. I wish I had called it the daimon. And so, and then in the occult world, you know, it doesn't take long before you encounter the concept of the holy guardian angel, which, as we've discussed in other videos, is another way of looking at the daimon. So these two events are kind of going together. Like I'm developing an interest in the daimon, and as you do that, you start looking for material to strengthen your viewpoints or challenge your viewpoints or add to your viewpoints. And in doing that, I was led to Anthony Peake's book, and my interest in Anthony Peake's book really kind of contributed to me starting these videos about a year ago. I took a little break in the middle, but about a year ago, inspired by a lot of what I was reading, including him, I started making these videos. And then I've picked it back up here lately, and getting a lot of growth in the channel, a lot of follows, compared to what, I don't know how fast it's supposed to be growing, but it's growing every day, and that's all I care about. And I'm finding people who want to talk about this and have thoughts and opinions about it, including Dead Steve. And so Dead Steve reminded me of the book, and I started listening to it, and that led to me making this video. And so what does all of this have to do with the daimon and your interaction with it? Obviously, you can see how the topic has to do with it, but is the daimon active in this? I believe he is, or she is, or it is. I believe the daimon kind of inserts itself in all these little moments to keep you on the track of your destiny. And so am I saying making this video was my destiny? Sure, why not? I believe I have a greater destiny. I believe the daimon is steering me towards something more than just making this video right now. But if in making this video right now, somebody else watches it and they start doing this and they uncover some previously unseen direction in their life, then making this video was pretty important. And so we can kind of get some glimpse of the importance of what we do by looking at all the little things that had to happen to get there. But ultimately, and a lot of times we don't know. Like some of you guys have been really kind to say, hey, thanks for having this conversation. Thanks for talking about these things and sharing your thoughts. And that makes me feel great. I love it. This is actually happening, that there's a conversation happening on YouTube. But some of you don't ever say anything. But hopefully what's happening is you're inspired by something, you pick up a book, or you do something, or you think about something differently. And the effect is, it just builds from there. And My favorite Joseph Campbell quote, the influence of a vital person vitalizes. And so I think becoming aware of your daemon, whether you believe it as a real thing or a metaphor or a part of you, whatever it is, becoming aware of it is the definition of becoming vital, because you're like, oh crap, I have a life I'm supposed to be living. I better get to it. And then when you get to it, you have this invitation to start tracking events to see what has led to this moment, what has led to this reality. So anyway, thank you guys for watching me go down this really convoluted memory lane. Thank you to Dead Steve for inspiring this video. Thank you to Anthony Peak for his work and the inspiration there. Thank you to those of you who have checked out or joined the Patreon. It really, really helps this whole thing happen. So anyway, see you guys soon.